Dorks, what are we blowing up? What? The Vatican? Wow, you guys are going to hell.
The Fast and Furious movies have never been exactly realistic, but some fans are racing to criticize this plot hole in Fast X. Could it have been avoided? Nobody likes the guy that points out plot holes while you're walking out of the theater. More often than not, pointing out these moments either betrays a misunderstanding of some aspect of the story or an unwillingness to engage with the film on anything other than a literal level. However, there are some rare instances in which plot holes do genuinely undermine the ability to enjoy a film's story, such as the case in Fast X. The Fast saga has never been known for its airtight logic. In fact, they're seemingly aware of how absurd these movies have become and are flaunting it as a marketing strategy. That said, there's one aspect of the film's internal logic that simply doesn't make sense in the world of Fast and Furious. Throughout the film, one of the storylines the audience follows is Jacob Toretto's quest to get little Brian to safety. The parameters of the mission are vague, even by Fast and Furious standards. Though things get even more confusing when a character reveals that Brian O'Connor, the former franchise co-lead played by the late Paul Walker, is somehow entirely safe from harm with his own family. What makes this story choice frustrating is that it's such an unimaginative solution to an obvious problem, creating more questions than it answers. While it's understandable why Fast X would want to address his character in some way, simply not mentioning him at all would arguably be preferable to this. If it was a matter of involving their late co-star in the story somehow, there were surely more meaningful ways to do so. If it was a matter of filling the potential plot hole of why Dante Reyes wouldn't go after Brian's family, the film is underestimating its audience. The characters seem so positive that Brian's family is safe that they don't even question or worry about it for more than 2 lines. This creates a fleeting tribute but immediately raises the question of why Dom's family doesn't join him at this supposed impenetrable safe house. Obviously, there's a real-life reason for Brian's absence from the story. Paul Walker died in a car accident in November 2013, in the midst of filming Furious 7, leaving Walker's real-life brothers to step in, along with some CGI help, and complete the unfinished scenes. Furious 7 ultimately ends with a touching pseudo-acknowledgement of Walker's death as Brian and Dom drive down 2 separate roads while See You Again, the Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth song written as a tribute to Walker, plays in the background. While it was a meaningful send-off to the character, it's led to some awkward moments as the films have continued. When discussing how to stop a seemingly evil Dom in Fate of the Furious, the idea of bringing back Brian to help is immediately shot down by Letty. Brian would know what to do. No, we can't bring Brian and Mia into this. When Dom's sister Mia appears in a larger role in F9, Brian's absence becomes even more notable. If his wife is returning to the Fast family, then it strains the audience's suspension of disbelief that Brian wouldn't be along for the ride. Brian does seemingly arrive at the barbecue that ends the film in his trademark blue Nissan, though audiences don't actually see him step out of the car. As the series has continued on without Walker, it's become increasingly clear that there's no interest from the filmmakers to recast Brian or use a digital doppelganger to allow the character to return to the series in a larger capacity. That leaves the series in an awkward place as Dom and the rest of the family need to acknowledge that the Brian character still exists without actually bringing him back into the story. In the case of Fast X, maybe it would have been better for that acknowledgement to have never come up, especially since Dante doesn't seem to have any trouble finding any of the other characters that he's seeking revenge against.